Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here tonight, boys. That's what you've earned here tonight.
There were some things going on in sports today that will make your brain fall out of your skull.
It's sports.
All around the clock, sports all the time.
That's the concept of the news.
Oh, that's never going to work.
How would you like to manage the Indians this year?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? This is a chance to manage in the big leagues.
Let me think it over, will you, Charlie? I got a guy on the other line about some white walls. I'll talk to you later.
As you know, Monty, Vaughn's been working on a couple of new pitches, the Eliminator and the Humiliator, to complement his fastball, the Terminator.
I heard that.
Dynamite drop in, Monty. That broadcast school has really paid off.
You want to settle old scores, you're on the wrong team. We move forward starting right now. We start becoming a team right now.
And now, the sports issue with Jason and Toivo.
Welcome back. Second hour of the sports issue. I'm Jason Groth.
And I'm Toivo.
And it's been, like we talked about, an exciting week football-wise. We'll kind of shift gears a little bit. Volleyball also starting off in the area, and Greenway is off to a quick 2-0 record with a strong week over Crosby Ironton Lakeview Christian Academy. A little bit of turnover this year with the Raiders. They lost a few players that are now playing at ICC, and also have had another player go to Hibbing and one that's at St. Scholastica. So it'll be interesting to see how they're doing. They got some good players up front, especially Summer McDonald and Kate Cook, give them some good size and height up front in the front row, and they're expecting to have another strong year. And they get ready to face the Hibbing Blue Jackets on Thursday at 7 o'clock at the Karen Tomberlin Gymnasium in Coleraine, and that game will be exciting for many different reasons. This year, Hibbing has a new head coach. The legendary Gail Nusich has retired. She had over 800 wins, the winningest volleyball coach in the state of Minnesota. She has retired, and now at the helm, former Greenway star Hannah Johnson.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, and that gym, I think, is going to be rocking next Thursday night. It's going to be a great one. I think everyone needs to turn out for that one. Hibbing is always been a powerhouse, always tough. I know, back when I was in high school in the late 90s, that was the rivalry, was Grand Rapids and Hibbing in the section in section play, and it was, for a while there, it was either Grand Rapids or Hibbing making it to the state tournament, and they've had quite the storied tradition over there. They're very well known for their volleyball, so what a great addition to that staff in hiring Hannah Johnson. She's former Greenway standout, former UMD standout. It was a smart decision on their part, and I think they're going to transition in their next tenure with her very well. And on the other side, you got to say Greenway's off to a quick start. They haven't even lost a game inside of a match, so 3-0 to both Crosby Ironton and Lakeview Christian Academy. So they're started out, they're poised, they're ready to go, and I'm sure Hibbing will be ready for Greenway as well, and they've started out the same way with wins over Proctor and Virginia. So you got to give it to Hibbing, got to give it to to Greenway, but it's going to be an interesting battle next Thursday night in the Karen Tomberlin Gymnasium.
Well, I remember when I first started here at the newspaper at the Grand Rapids Herald Review, all I heard about throughout the time was when he came here, volleyball, Hibbing. Pencil in Hibbing to the section final. That was the key. You knew Gail Nusich would have that team ready to go, and it was just a factory. The players that they just produced throughout the years, and recently Kate Lang, who's having an outstanding career at UMD. You just remember Hibbing Blue Jacket volleyball, pencil them in, whatever class they're in. You can pretty much almost, for the most part, except towards the end, and that you have those trends, peaks and valleys in all sports, you could pencil in Hibbing into the section final. Now, Greenway's had some very good teams over the last few years, just couldn't get over that hump. They're hoping to get over the hump into the finals this year and make that run. And they got some exciting games alone coming up this week where they'll take on, as we said, they take on Hibbing. But then after that, they will welcome Deer River. They'll travel to Hermantown on September 9th, travel to Deer River on September 10th, host their own tournament on the 14th, and then Monday, September 16th, that gym in Greenway and Coleraine is going to be rocking again as the rivalry. And one of the only sports now that there's still a rival. Grand Rapids and Greenway will square off. They'll take the short jaunt down 169 at the Karen Tomberlin Gymnasium, and that place will be rocking. I know Greenway remembers last year, Grand Rapids winning on their court, and then Grand Rapids storming the court. And what was for a Grand Rapids side of things, an outstanding seed. Greenway is upset. Greenway got revenge in the IRC tournament in Grand Rapids. This year, these two teams play each other twice in a home and home. That's going to be exciting when those two teams square off. Both expected to have big years this year.
It'll be a great matchup. I expect to be at that one for sure. Monday night. It's going to be a great match. But we got to talk about Grand Rapids too. Starting out the season with a huge victory. We talked about it last week on the show against Duluth East, 3-0. That's a big victory there for Grand Rapids. They go next to Cloquet on Tuesday. Then they're going to have their own battle with Hermantown on the same night as Hibbing and Greenway do battle. Then they have the they have a tournament down to Benilde St. Margaret. Down to Coon Rapids there, and then they come back with Hibbing, Duluth East before the Greenway matchup. So Grand Rapids has a tough schedule ahead of them here in the early goings, as well as Greenway and as well as Hibbing. So it's going to be some great volleyball coming up here in the near future in September.
And it's going to be interesting to see how things play out, especially in Section 7-3A. It's a tough section for Grand Rapids to try to work their way out of. They have normal volleyball powers down in the south that they have to deal with, Forest Lake, Andover, Anoka. Those guys are always strong down there. You throw in Duluth East and Duluth Denfeld and Grand Rapids, those are your only teams north of, I'd say, Forest Lake in that area. I don't really have the map in front of me, but down south has always been known for volleyball powers, and that section, it's a very tough one to get out of.
Yeah, and we see this. We've seen this a lot in more recent years, in the 90s and the 2000s. But those Forest Lakes, sometimes the St. Francis's, Cambridge Isani, stuff like that, are placed into the Section 7. Because there's just not as many bigger school teams up here, and so that's why you see Grand Rapids face some of those teams. We see it in track, we see it in hockey, we see it in other sports, and it's just the inevitable. And you would like to see a true northern section, but it just doesn't happen anymore because the size of the schools aren't there anymore. And with that, Grand Rapids is right on the bubble, or not on the bubble, but they're kind of in the middle of that whole thing. So they're one of the larger schools in this area, but they're not quite as large as those city schools, and don't have as much to choose from down there. They end up getting placed with a lot of these southern teams in their sections.
Well, that seems to happen a lot with that multi-class section that you see in multi-class program in the state, where you see a lot of the area teams end up playing in sections that really don't make sense logistically, and now it's getting pared down. You see it more in volleyball. Actually, you see it pared down where it's more locally in volleyball and baseball and some of those other sports, but we talked about it with football. They're actually in the right, for section-wise, they're in the right area, but conference-wise, not even close.
Yeah, and that's things need to be changed. We were talking with Coach Botsford during the break about what your thoughts were on the football, and he said that look for 2015 to be those pod schedules where they're section schedules and possibly set into conferences. You're going to see these conferences more than likely disbanded, and with football, I know it's been Grand Rapids has been in every different conference. The IRC is gone, and there's really no tradition in that. And some of the other sports, you still have the storied tradition in Iron Range Conference, but for surely for football and maybe some of those other sports, look for those pods to happen, those pod schedules where you're going to play all your section teams.
Well, the thing was, the North Country Conference, when that conference disbanded, because Detroit Lakes went their direction, and a couple of other teams left at that same time, Thief River Falls went their direction, it really changed that area in football. And you saw Cloquet go into the C range, and you saw a few of the other teams, Duluth East and Duluth Denfeld, had to go on their own. Now they're in the Mississippi 8. That's a tough conference for those guys to be in.
And they found that out on Thursday night. Both teams found out that is a very tough conference to be in. Like Coach Botsford mentioned, Princeton is in that conference, so they're going to see a lot of good, a lot of good competition down there.
And looking at other sports in the area, the Grand Rapids soccer team off to a rough start, but they face a very tough schedule. They're set at 1-3 overall. Lost their first 3 games, Saga Lakes, Heritage Christian Academy, and Minnetonka, but they rebounded in a big way with a huge victory over Hibbing Chisholm. Today, they're on the road taking on Rochester Lords. Then they go on the road to Bemidji and White Bear Lake, but come back home to take on Hermantown Rogers and St. Michael Albertville. So this schedule, another tough one for Grand Rapids. Always in a tough section. Proctor's the teams you always got to look out for. Cloquet Carleton, and you got Esco on their own, and that's single A. And that's a funny sport, how soccer is single A and double A. Duluth East has always been the team in double A, Grand Rapids in single A for soccer. So The boys team sitting at 1-3, but they're a young team looking to get forward. Head coach Jeff Lightfoot normally gets them going in the right direction early.
Yeah, the Grand Rapids soccer team has done a fantastic job over the years. Look at it, making a state tournament a few years ago, and they're always ready to play. But I mean, let's face it, they do have a tough schedule every year. A lot of times we see them playing some of those powerhouses from down in the cities, but that's just the way that they have to go. There's not a ton of soccer teams around the Northland, a lot more than there used to be, but they end up traveling quite a bit, and like you said, playing the Minnetonkas and stuff like that, and it's just inevitable for a sport like that. But they're doing a great job, a fine job, and hope to see them have a little bit more success this season.
Well, it's exciting how the schedules come about with that. You see the road trips. It's got to be, Ann Campbell's job has got to be something else up here with all the activities. And you see it at the other schools too. They have a lot of activities, but for Grand Rapids being their size, all the traveling that they have to do is something else, and it's got to be a fun time trying to put those schedules together.
Well, and that's just it. We talked about it a few years ago with football, traveling 1,200 miles, and maybe moving into the Central Lakes Conference is going to be a different story. Well, guess what? There's a couple of 4-hour trips for that team this year. The hockey team sees it every year. The baseball team sees it every year. And now the soccer team is seeing it this year too. They have to travel. We'll have games. We'll travel. And that's what we're looking at here for the forecast for Grand Rapids. As some of the teams, they got to fill that schedule. Some of these teams play 20-game plus schedules, and a lot of times there's these Northland teams. They have their schedule set between their conferences and sections and everything else. So usually Grand Rapids ends up traveling quite a bit, as well as some other teams in the Northland.
Well, you talk about a sport that travels a lot cross country. We'll have a chance to talk with GNK head coach Will Florsheim and a couple of his runners here in just a little bit. And they travel a lot because you get your one home meet and then you're on the road most of the year. And this year, the Titan Invitational is going to be a huge invite. They're bringing in 18 teams. Some of the top teams in the state of Minnesota will be running at the Eagle Ridge Golf Course. And
what a great way to show off our area up here. Eagle Ridge Golf Course, very beautiful golf course with a great view of Trout Lake. Had an opportunity to be at some houses up there recently, and man, they've got some great views up there. So it'll be a great way to showcase our area up here to some of those teams from down south. And got to mention that it's great to see a program over there starting up between Greenway and Nashwauk-Keewatin, because in recent years past, Greenway was combined with Grand Rapids in their cross-country program. So it's nice to see that they have, kind of, quote-unquote, their own program with Nashwauk-Keewatin here. And it'll be interesting to see that meet take place. And hopefully we can get up there and watch them running.
Should be an exciting meet. That is on Thursday as well at the Eagle Ridge Golf Course. We'll have them to come in, talk about that momentarily, but we'll take a quick timeout and come back with some more issues here on the Sports Issue on 1320 KOZY and KOZYradio.com. Welcome back here to the Sports Issue on 1320 KOZY. We thank you for tuning in and enjoying our second episode of the Sports Issue. I'd like to thank Tim Botsford in our first hour. We'll have Will Florsheim, Melissa Peterson, as well as Cameron Brandt of the G&K Titan Cross Country team coming in just in a little bit to talk about their upcoming season.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to talk about or emphasize is that the whole point of this sports show is to promote local sports as much as we possibly can. If you're out there listening, please give us a follow on Twitter. I'm at Toivo22. And Jason is at KOZY Sports. Check us out. Follow us on Twitter, or we could maybe start a hashtag the issue.
There we go.
Or hashtag the issue on KOZY. So give us a follow on Twitter there, and we really want to do this, promote local sports, and also of course we want to share our opinions, which I gotta say are not necessarily that of KOZY. So just put that disclaimer out there right now. But local sports is what we wanted to do. It's the reason why we started this show. And if there's anybody out there that has any thoughts or has a question, they can email us actually at johnt@kozyradio.com, or you can email Jason as well. And Jason, what's your email?
It'll be jason@kozyradio.com. So simple as that. And also, coaches, we'll want to get as many of you guys on as we possibly can in the area and bring some athletes in to talk. Will Florsheim take advantage of that. We want like we said, promote the local sports, get your team out there, let you know about games that are coming up, and let you know your schedule. We want to help you and try to get that out there and get more fans in the gym, pack the stands at every game we can.
Yeah, and that's what what it's designed to do is get those gyms packed and give you guys an opportunity to listen to something on Saturday morning. I mean, get away from the Saturday morning cartoons and get next to your computer or next to your radio and listen to us on either 1320 KOZY or KOZYradio.com.
Well, one thing we do want to talk about a little bit while we got some time here locally, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. What an outstanding start. I questioned the move last year with Philip Nelson and the red shirt. It's proven that, Jerry Kill had a good reason behind that. Get him some time. He beat Leitner out for the job, and he looked sharp against UNLV.
Yeah, what a great game for the Gophers. I know that Sid Hartman is probably having a silver butter knife steak right now. He's he's celebrating that win. He's on cloud nine, and they'll probably be at the State Fair again for the Sports Huddle tomorrow. But you gotta give it to these Gophers. There's a lot of tradition there. I mean, there's a storied tradition with some national championships. The last one coming in 1960. Last Rose Bowl win, I believe, was in '66. One of the Barleys from Coleraine was on that team. At least one of their last viable appearances in that Pro Bowl. So, bringing that team back to a powerhouse is a tough thing to do. And I got to give it to Coach Kill and his staff. They're doing a good job over there. So we got to give it to them, and hopefully that they will continue to have that success throughout the season.
They're on the road Saturday night. They take on New Mexico State. We'll have full details following that game in sports on 1320 KOZY. You're listening to The Issue. Well, hello and welcome back to the Sports Issue. I'm Jason Groth, now joined by G&K cross-country coach Will Florsheim, as well as athletes Alyssa Peterson and Cameron Brandt. First, welcome to the studios.
Thanks for having us, Jason.
Well, it's a very exciting time for your program. You guys are getting ready for a nice cross-country meet at the Eagle Ridge Golf Course on Thursday. You talk a little bit about the meet.
Yeah, we're thrilled. This is going to be the second year of hosting our own invitational coming up here. This coming Thursday out at Eagle Ridge. It's just a great location for that. We're very fortunate that Gordy Scar and his staff out there have had us back for another year in the Eagle Ridge board. We're thrilled this year. The meet has grown from 10 teams last year to where we're expecting 19 or 20 this year. So just doubled in size, and the field we're incredibly excited about. Some of the best teams in the area. We're bringing Esco's coming into the meet this year, defending state champions. Proctor's going to be here. They had an individual state champion last year. So the field is just impressive, and it's a good early season meet. We're looking forward to having it for a number of years.
All right, now a couple of questions for you, Alyssa and Cameron. You guys got your first meet under your belts. Talk a little bit about how the season's been to start so far for you guys.
It's been good so far, but we're not really in the swing of things yet. So, we just had a meet in Virginia. Where was it?
I don't know. I'm excited for the season. Our team has doubled in size, so I'm pretty excited that we can have a boys team and a girls team this year, and we'll be able to place.
You guys get a chance to host this big meet here in your backyard at Eagle Ridge Golf Course. Talk about the feelings that you have going into that.
I'm pretty nervous. I really want to do good, but I don't know. There's tough competition there, so I'll have to train hard the next week and see what happens.
All right, and a lot of work goes into putting in a meet this size. You talk a little bit about behind the scenes, some of the work that you guys had to do to try to get those teams that you mentioned that are coming to town for this event.
Yeah, well, that started, and Jason, honestly, it's a good question. It started, a lot of people wouldn't know that. We started trying to, recruit teams or advertise out to teams, and there's some of that where, if you have a meet on the schedule and it's a good location, it's a good spot, teams are going to come anyway. But, just kind of promoting it to teams all throughout Region or Section 7 early last spring. And kind of got the date set in stone. We were fortunate to have a switch with Superior High School. Couldn't have their meet at this time, and so we just kind of fell into the spot. And it is something that since that time we've been really fortunate to have support from a lot of community boosters and support everywhere from Ogle's Food is donating, instead of trophies, we give out cakes to the winning teams, and Kurt Ogle has helped us out with that. We have support from Cameron's dad, actually, Globe Drug. They're helping support the meet a little bit. Eagle Ridge, like I said, is hosting the meet. There's a great range of people that are helping us make it all possible.
And this upcoming meet, for you guys at home, just talk about the feelings and the excitement that you can have to race in your backyard. I know last year you had the meet there too, but against the competition that you guys have at home.
I'm really nervous because ESCO is going to be there, and yeah, they're really good, so.
And what's it like, you get the opportunity to go up against teams like that at that level to help push yourself and strive to move forward?
I don't know. It's pretty good competition, so I don't know. I'm gonna be pushed to do well and not. I don't know. Not. I guess not. Oh, forgot what to say.
Sorry. Cross country, a very unique sport. It's kind of a, it's an individual sport also, but also very well a team-oriented sport as well. Just talk about that a little bit about that aspect of the team.
Well,
Well, for us, I mean, the team aspect, these guys they know what they want to say, but when Alyssa's talking about having ESCO, and it's, there's teams that are coming that have established themselves year in and year out as some of the best programs in the section. And for us, like she's saying, we know who we have to beat. These coaches have done a great job establishing themselves at the top of the section. And, there's a target on their back, and they like having that, and we like knowing that we have to chase after them. So.
You mentioned that target, and you've seen this program build throughout the years. How nice has that been overall for the kids, also for you as a coach?
It's been fantastic. I mean, if you had told me a year ago that these two kids, in our program, we were looking at 6 or 7 kids every day in practice, that this year we were going to be having 18 or 19, with 2 managers and new coaching faces, it's really surpassed my expectations, and it's all credit to the kids for doing the work themselves to build our program, both between Nashwauk, Keewatin, and Greenway.
Now you got the big meet Thursday, but also looking further ahead, you got some big meets up ahead on the road throughout the year. Just talk about how the outlook is for the season, some of the events that you guys really look forward to.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to the big meet in Malacca because there's going to be a lot of big teams there and a lot of good competition.
yeah, my favorite course is the Malacca Mega Meet, so.
All right, and what really got you guys interested in cross country and start running?
I like running, so I've been running since I was 6, so I like track and cross country, all the running sports. So.
I just thought it'd be good training for hockey, so to get me in shape, I guess.
Yeah, Cameron's kind of, we always joke about this, he's kind of hockey's gift to cross country. And so we're working on him a little bit to make him that true distance runner. But we're still right now satisfied with that it's good training for hockey. And that's, being a Greenway kid, we're okay with that.
Well, it seems to be like almost a common trend that you see a lot of schools, athletes in different sports use cross country for their training to get ready for those other sports. And I'm not saying that's what cross country is for, but it's a lot of great things, and it's a different mindset that you see with runners.
Yeah, the endurance training that they pick up, running a 4K race or a 5K race. For a lot of these kids, you're right. And no matter where I've coached at, we've had girl swimmers that have come out and run cross country because it's the same endurance piece for that type of athlete. And I've had kids have a lot of success trying to go cross-platform between different sports.
Well, a lot of things you talk about cross country is a sport that you can take with you past your high school and past your college career, where you can run anytime you want. And it's a very unique sport in that aspect. Is that some of your guys' plan on goal to continue running in the future?
Yeah, it would keep me in shape for, I don't know, through when I get older, and just, I don't know, so I don't get out of shape, I guess.
I think Alyssa definitely has plans on that. What do you say to that?
I'll probably be running until I'm like 80, so.
We're looking at a young lady here that's already run Grandma's Marathon. How many times?
3.
Well, 3 times under your belt. Just talk about your experiences running the marathon and how fun that is, especially that big event here in Minnesota.
there's a lot of people, so like when they start the race, there's so many people that you're like walking so that everybody like spreads out, and there's like people cheering everywhere, and yeah, it's a fun race.
If you guys talk about what's an average week like for you guys, a practice week for you for cross country as you build up for, say, an event on Thursday like you have coming up?
I don't know. We usually do long runs, and then like the day before the meet, we kind of do a easier practice, so we're not as tired for the meet the next day.
And like 2 or 3 days before the meet, we usually do a harder speed workout, so yeah.
Well, this Thursday, a nice event at the Eagle Ridge Golf Course. Talk about what the course is for fans that might be in attendance, what they can expect to see and where to look and where to be.
Yeah, exactly. You know, for people that are familiar with Eagle Ridge Golf Course, we run on the back nine out there in Coleraine, and it the course really sets up well in terms of cross country courses for people that are at all familiar with high school running and cross country. We have a couple of good hills in there. For the most part, it's a fairly flat course. It's a nice downhill into the finish. Kids really like that about our course, and it's a good coach's course. And I'll say that because a good coach's course is oftentimes a good spectator's course. You can see your kids at multiple times. The mile marks for coaches getting splits and things like that are very accessible. And it's a really fun meet. We're thankful that we get a lot of community support from, whether it's the Spartan Booster Club on the Nashwauk-Keewatin side or the Greenway alumni, people that come out and support our kids. We have a lot of the school staff members that come out and work. Our parents, our boosters are out there supporting it. It's just a really fun day.
You guys get to see a lot of different types of courses throughout the year. How does this one kind of compare to some of the other ones that you see?
Some of the courses are more flat. I think this one's going to have some more hills in it, and it'll be a little tougher because it's at home, and I don't know, just knowing the course that you'll think it'll be easy, but then you have that mindset, so it probably won't be as easy as you think it is.
Well, we thank you guys for coming in. Again, the Titan Invitational is Thursday at 4 o'clock at Eagle Ridge Golf Course. That's when the first race will take off. It should be a very exciting day. Make sure to stop on by. About 18 to 20 teams anticipated to be on hand for that event at the Eagle Ridge Golf Course. Once again, thank you guys for stopping by.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having us. And I'll add about that meet, too, if I can quickly. Anybody that's got an interest in distance running that might be in the listening area, we have a K-5 kindergarten through 5th grade apple race that's actually at 3:30. So if you've got a child between the ages of kindergarten through 5th grade and you want to bring them out for that, we give every finisher an apple. It's a quarter-mile race, and it's just a good way to get people involved in distance running and what hopefully we have some future Titans in the mix, too.
All right, make sure to check that out at the Eagle Ridge Golf Course on Thursday. It's a G&K Titan Invitational Thursday. Thank you guys for stopping by as you're listening to the Sports Issue right here on 1320 KOZY, as well as KOZYRadio.com. Welcome back once again to the Sports Issue here on 1320 KOZY, as well as KOZYRadio.com. Would like to thank G&K Titan head coach Will Florsheim, as well as Alyssa Peterson and Cameron Brandt for coming in studio. Great to have them in. They did a great job, and looking forward to that meet on Thursday at the Titan Invitational at the Eagle Ridge Golf Course. Again, come out early. They'll have that apple run for kindergarten through 5th grade, and also then the big event starting at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it'll be a great time, and thank you once again to those guys, as well as the Brandt family that sat in studio and listened to that whole interview. And what a great job by those kids to jump on live radio and do it, ask of what they are doing off the cuff. So great job to them, and good luck on Thursday.
Now we'll talk some college football last night. I'm sure you've heard about it. North Dakota State University, what a victory for them, taking care of business against Kansas State, knocking off the defending Big 12 champion, and that's going to be huge for them. And this is a North Dakota State team, it's become a common thing for them to knock off a big school. They did it, pounded Minnesota that year at TCF Bank Stadium, took care of business against Kansas, and there was another one in there as well that they knocked off that was solid. So they're no slouch, and this is something nothing new for them. They're not afraid of anyone.
Absolutely not. They have over the years in the Division I 2A, they have actually been one of the top teams in that division, and they are not scared at all. They say, "Hey, we'll play anyone, anytime, anywhere." because they've got one heck of a program out there. They've got a beautiful stadium in the Fargo Dome that they play in, and I mean, you gotta give it to them. They are quite the team, and I'm excited. I'm so glad they beat Kansas State last night. I believe it's 24-21 was the final score, and actually won it in the waning minutes of the game, last minutes of the game, and they actually held on and had an interception late to squander any hopes of Kansas State coming back.
I'm happy just because it was against Kansas State.
Well, yeah, you being a Kansas guy, I mean, I don't think you have a T-shirt that has anything other than Kansas on it. Today, you have the ugliest T-shirt on in the Green Bay Packers, and there was a lot of people out there that'll agree with me on that.
I had a few people comment to me about that already in the studio, but first, again, that game last night, just great. They were honoring. Here's the thing that makes that even better. It was at Bill Snyder Field in Kansas State in Manhattan, Kansas. Second largest crowd they've ever had for a game at that place.
That is awesome.
And they lay an egg.
And the Bison come in and do what Bison do and just herd and roll over them.
And on top of that, they're mounting a giant statue. And Bill Snyder's a great guy. He's done great things for college football in Kansas State. But as a Jayhawk fan, did that not bring the biggest smile to my face last night?
Did you draw your chalk on the Thunderhawk or whatever you guys say? I don't.
Rock, chalk, Jayhawk. No, I left that be because KU's anticipated to have a very, very down year in football. In fact, Charlie Weiss had some great quotes in the Big 12 Media Day that they're awful. He just threw it out there, but he's trying to drum up support, being honest. But we'll see what happens. It's funny because my mom's tuning in, and I'll throw that out there just to throw her under the bus a little
mommy
bit. She's
growth.
a huge Kansas State Wildcat fan, and that's a house divided a little bit. So we just had to throw that out there. I'm happy with the big win for North Dakota State University last night.
Well, the Jayhawks' problem is they got to get another 300-pound quarterback. I don't remember who he was a few years ago, but he was a chubby guy like you and me, and man, was he great! I really enjoyed him.
Well, he followed in the lines of their coach at that time, Mark Mangino, who happened to be perhaps one of the biggest men ever, and he's lost a lot of weight for him, doing a good job now. But Charlie Weiss, another big guy, they kind of like those hefty coaches there.
Well, down in Kansas, they feed him well.
That is true. I can vouch for that. But pro football right around the corner. We'll talk about that here in the final minute of the sports issue. Minnesota Vikings, cut down day. They're getting down to the number. The Green Bay Packers getting down to their number. It's going to be exciting to see who makes the team, who doesn't. And I think interesting to see Adrian Peterson, 2 non-carries in 2 plays. I know you don't want to get him hurt, but I think it didn't work. It actually worked out well last year where he didn't do anything in preseason either.
Well, at some point in time, you're being a little bit too cautious with Peterson, but whatever, it is what it is. I mean, he's a gamer; he'll show up for game time, and it'll be interesting to see what both the Vikings and the Packers put on the field as a final product. Both teams will be prepared; they'll be ready to go. It's professional football; anything can happen. I expect the Vikings to have a decent season, but they're going to rely on the shoulders of Adrian Peterson quite a bit. On the other side of the ticket, the Green Bay Packers, they're going to be relying probably a lot on Aaron Rodgers as opposed to their running game.
Well, it'll be interesting because, like you said, now DeJuan Harris, the guy that was expected to start for Green Bay, is out for the year with that knee injury. So it's going to mean a lot of Eddie Lacy, James Starks, Alex Green, possibly Jonathan Franklin, but Franklin hasn't done much in the preseason to impress. In fact, the running game hasn't done anything, and a lot of people are like, oh, Green Bay's not going to do anything. But they keep remembering, they've had a porous offensive line for a long time, but they still have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they do have Aaron Rodgers. He does well, and I think that he is, he's always going to be prepared here for the Packers.
And it should be very exciting to see that opening week coming up just a week away actually, Detroit, Minnesota. It should be a very exciting one.
Yeah, what a tough schedule Minnesota has coming up right away. Detroit, Chicago. You can't ask for a tougher schedule starting out the season with your conference foes. But my prediction is that they're going to beat the Lions in the first game. Score will be, we'll say 24-21, low-scoring game. AP will go for 250.
I don't know about 250. I think you'll go for about 110 and a touchdown. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Matthew Stafford, with the addition of Reggie Bush, is going to have a huge game. It's going to be one of those games. I think it's going to be on Christian Ponder.
Yeah, I think it will be. And you know what? With Greg Jennings, hopefully the addition with somebody that can offer some sort of a deep threat, but also a little bit over the middle as well. The loss of Percy Harvin is going to be big. However, I think we've picked up enough.
Well, we thank you again for tuning in to the second edition of the Sports Issue. We'd like to thank our guests for stopping by. It's been a great one right here on 1320 KOZY.
You've been listening to The Sports Issue with Jason and Toivo on 1320 KOZY and KOZYradio.com. Make sure to tune in next Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for The Sports Issue right here on 1320 KOZY.